Hi, I'm Ben,
I'm Saravana.
and we're Elbo AI. I just wanted to give a quick intro of who we are and what we're building. So we're Elbo AI. We're trying to build faces for AI. And I'll explain what that means in a minute. But both of us have worked in the large companies, Google, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon. And personally, I'm like what you call a creative hacker. And I've always been interested in how people interact with computers. So like when mobile kind of came out, I mean, when touchscreens came out, I kind of switched to mobile because I was like, oh, that's a new way of doing things. And when I was there, Google actually, their voice search kind of came good enough to be useful. And so I actually helped build all the early UIs and interfaces when I was on the iOS search app. And then later I went to Glass and kind of really worked on voice search and how do we interact with computers that way. Coincidentally, even helped build the prototype that later became Google Assistant. And like, time has gone on, worked on Doodles and Alexa. Saravana worked on Siri for a long time. And kind of last year was like this major inflection point where all of a sudden all these things I've been thinking about for like a decade, right? Like how to interact with computers differently seemed possible because of generative AI. So like large language models finally, like if you think about Siri or Alexa and all them, they're like command and response. You say, turn on a timer and they're like, okay, timer set, but you're not having a conversation. With an LLM, you're like having a conversation. And then Stable Diffusion was also out, and like all of a sudden we could make faces and people and like really realistic photos and things. So I left my job and yours around the same time.
Yeah.
And we've been working together almost a year now. And the idea is like, we think you're going to be talking to AI everywhere, right? LLMs are coming, whether you think they should or not. And chatbots are already here everywhere. You're already seeing them in every customer service website and everything. And so you're going to want to talk to these things, kind of like I'm talking to you right now, Barack. Right? Although maybe a little more back and forth than this little thing. But like, it's just so much easier to like say what's wrong if you're talking to a person, right? Like, think about like telling someone next to you what's going on versus like trying to type it in Google. There's like cognitive load of like figuring out the way to say it. And so I think so we're building faces, and soon after, like all the other pieces you need for conversational AI, so that you can feel like you're talking to someone. I think actually maybe a quick demo to show what we got so far working. It's a little more concrete. Welcome to Puppetry, where you can animate faces using your own face. So this is step one of our plan, right? So here you take an image of a face at the top, and we can make it move. We can transfer the motion from something else onto the face. And we have many more steps where we're hoping to be able to do this, with just audio, and then later with just text. And so we can basically take a face and make it talk. And when you can do that, you can look like you're talking to an LLM instead of typing at an LLM. And that's the short of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So great elevator pitch. So who is the target market? I mean, you have a product, and you, I think, started a year ago, and you have a prototype now. Who is your target market? Which kinds of customers do you focusing on?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So we are still experimenting. So there are two major groups of customers that we are looking up into. So one is all the startups that are building these AI agents, be it in B2B, enterprise, and they want to create a more compelling user interface for their AI agent, right? So we provide that conversational layer and let them build that out. And the second one is the B2C angle of, there seems to be a lot of interest in making avatars talk. And people just want to use it for either marketing or, or just like making funny pictures, funny videos for sharing with the family. So that's another angle that we are trying to experiment with, and we'll go down the path that makes more sense.
How did you understand that this is a problem, or how did you validate the customer problem and demand for your solution right now?
Yeah, a great question. So we started out when we saw it working and we were blown away by it. Ben told me about this and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then when I actually saw it, it felt very real. So that's how we started. Then we made this B2, a consumer app called Puppetry. It's on the App Store. You can try it out. And when we released it, we thought people would use it. But what turned out was we started getting a lot of inbound requests from game animators, and they wanted to use it in their game flow, right? And then also a lot of creative people. We had creative directors who had done Super Bowl ads using our stuff to make these videos that they call it moving storyboards. And that kind of validate the premise that what we are building, the facial interaction part, is compelling enough that people of that caliber would use it, right? So that passes that check of, is it relatable? Like, would people want to see this thing? And that's how we started, and like we are trying to figure our way out.
So which kind of technologies do you use? Are you dependable on AI structures and models, by the way?
Yeah, so we use our own models, but we've based it on papers that are out there. I need to go into I mean, we have a unit basically. We it's broken into three parts, right? We're trying to find structures in the face, and then we, based on how those structures move, kind of figure out what we call a deformation map, how you can change the image. And then we have an in-painting section where like, I might have my mouth closed and then open, and there was nothing in the original image that has teeth or a tongue. So I now need to draw that in when the mouth opens and stuff like that. So there's a third step. But it's our own models right now. It's doing it.
And it's not one big model,
yeah,
like, like GPT-4 or 3, but we have a bunch of them, and we know how to put together, right? And like change the internals of the models that we train and make it work. So that's what we're really good at.
So as you mentioned, there are lots of new also companies and ventures in the field, especially in this kind of area. How do you differentiate your product? I mean, I know that it may be early today to ask this question because you are also experimenting lots of things and you are pivoting from the first day. And can you provide some of any examples your approach is unique or superior from others?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, right now I'm kind of excited from there's kind of two parts of this question, right? There's the technical part, right? Like, oh, we managed to make a model that does this. What stops anyone else from doing it? And I would argue nothing right now. I mean, you need some know-how. You need a couple of people who do know how to do it, but they can do it. But what's kind of exciting right now is that, like, with AI, there's almost no barrier to entry for anyone, actually, especially when like Facebook's doing a good job open sourcing, say, Llama, right? So even if you're making your own LLM, you have some reasonable place to start with. And so there's this thing where all of a sudden a two-person startup actually can compete actually with bigger companies, which is almost never the case, right? So it's kind of actually an opportunity for us that there's no barrier to entry. So, but the way we differentiate yourself, or will have to, is product. So I think we're gonna have to find that niche that, like, this is really solving something for them at first, and really just kind of nail that. And if I'm comparing ourselves to a big company, they're probably not going to care about such a tiny niche. And then other small companies, well, if we move faster or we find it first, that'll be our advantage.
There are in the facial space, there are like quite a few companies who are doing this. Like they do, like you can give an image and they animate it, and most of them, like, they are going down the enterprise, create a training video, create a employee video kind of a thing. None of them are really focused on the conversational aspect, right? So there is a lot to do if you want to do it in real time and try to do that, have a conversation with an AI LLM, and then just taking a video and doing like a batch processing job of generating the animation. So I think that's what would differentiate us in terms of providing that conversational layer, right? And being in front of the user.
Then the other thing is we can do dogs. Which I haven't seen anyone else really do.
Yeah, we are state of the art in animating pets.
Pets, yeah.
So when did you start the company? When was the exact time that you have left your earlier jobs?
Yeah, so the company itself started in December 2021. That was a month after I got my green card, decided I wanted to quit and do something on my own. But I was already fascinated back in, I think it was 2020, early 2020 or late 2019, where the avocado chair, I don't know if you remember, OpenAI published a paper for the first DALL-E model, where they had this text-to-image generation of, you can say, hey, create a chair in the shape of an avocado, and it would generate an avocado chair. And that just blew my mind. Like, I just couldn't imagine that something like that would be even possible. And I was already in like the Siri AI stuff, and like I just couldn't comprehend it. So decided to do like AI courses and stuff. And when I got my green card, decided to quit and do something on this side. Started out, found a friend along the way. We both together, combined efforts together and tried to build like a children's product. And this was around May of last year. That's when I quit the job. And along the way, we met Ben. We met him for lunch, just to ask him some thoughts on how we should build the product. And he was like, I'm also going to join you guys.
Yeah, but then I was like, I'm just going to leave my job and join you guys. Let's just do this.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, at that time, I was also thinking, like I said, I was literally having these thoughts of like, I had tried things like half a decade to a decade before, and I thought they were compelling things, but they were maybe like 70% of the way there. And I saw with generative AI, I could probably get to like 90 or 95%. So it was just like a perfect timing, perfect storm. And so I joined them pretty quickly.
And then we worked together, but our first co-founder, he had to leave. So then we just been two of us doing this since last September.
As far as I know, you are bootstrapping, but AI models and these kind of ventures need lots of funding. Did you have funding rounds, or what are your thoughts about raising investments upcoming months?
Yeah, we started with just a little bit, like just some angel investing. Actually, what we were doing is, one is we had some credits from these, like Google Cloud and AWS. But actually, one thing we found is like crypto kind of went down. And so there was a lot of used GPUs you could buy that are still great GPUs. And so we just have a bunch of GPUs in his closet. Like he doesn't even need to turn the heater on in the winter.
So we got so between the credits and a lot of GPUs that we kind of got used from other crypto people and gaming people, you'd be surprised how good these GPUs are. The consumer grade GPUs from NVIDIA are almost as good as the server class ones. And we just run it out of a closet. We've got another server machine that we got on a public auction for $200. That was like a big server. If you purchase outside, it'll be like $24,000. And we put that in our closet, change the fans, and it's working. So that's how we kind of bootstrapped our way into this.
But you are planning investment rounds, I think, upcoming in the
we have a demo day. So we got actually into an accelerator recently, a Global 500. It's actually really nice. I've been super impressed with them. And we have a demo day coming September 27th. And that's going to be the start of our, we'll try to start fundraising on that.
I mean, working alone for a long time and being an accelerator, what are the differences and what are the unique value proposition? I mean, additional value of the acceleration program?
Working alone, it was kind of fun, like being able to just build. Like it was just like building stuff, exploring. I don't know. I definitely like starting that way. I will say that accelerator they're forcing me correctly out of my comfort zones. There are things that they're suggesting, oh, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing this, that I would just never do on my own, even but with that extra, I trust them, and with that extra pressure, I'm starting to do it type of thing. So I found it extremely valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Finder Global in particular is a very personal program. Like you have it's a very small cohort, and you have very great mentors you can talk to at any time. And it feels like, and we also get office space. Like we are actually in the Finder Global office right now. So it's been great. But also it's kind of a lot of other things that we need to learn. And I would say more importantly, unlearn, right? That we have learned over the years in big companies that are no longer true when you're doing a startup. And it's nice. Yeah. Before that, it was like I was seeing Ben's face like the whole day, weekends, right? And I've been seeing him more than my wife or children. Now I see more other faces now, so it's nice.
So I'll ask you this question separately, both of you. What's your superpowers?
Well, mine has always been I've been ridiculously fast, always.
Yeah.
Like actually, it was like I remember in school, every parent-teacher conference, my teacher would be like, "He knows the stuff, but he's working so fast, he makes these careless errors," and they all tried to get me to slow down, and I didn't luckily listen to a single one of them. So that's
he doesn't listen even now. Yeah. I totally agree. He can do stuff that I'm surprised he could do. My superpowers, I can do many things at the same time, so that kind of helps me, and I learn really, really fast. So I was never like in computer science or anything. Everything I've learned has been on the job, including AI and all this stuff, and now sales and marketing. So that's kind of I can do many things at the same time.
I mean, being a white collar job, and now you are a founder and entrepreneur. So what keeps you awake at night nowadays?
Honestly, the big thing is like, I'm not used to thinking in terms of business models or like it's much more the soft skills, right? Like if you're gonna fundraise, like I can nail a pitch, I can nail like my tech, right, or whatever. But there's this soft skill of like connecting immediately with someone and like helping them understand and making like seeing that they're not understanding. I don't know, these little things. Like I think those are the skills I'm like needing to learn right now. And like it's the same with sales, like fundraising and sales are very similar kind of thing, right? So
that's a good point. For me, it's just the startup part is so exciting, right? That we would do without even getting a salary, like which we did, right? It's just a lot of fun. So that part is just like the building part aspect is super fun, and there's nothing I really worry about there. What I tend to worry when is like I have like I try to follow a list of things that I want to do, and when that list grows too much, then that's when I kind of get anxious and trying to check them out. Yeah, so there's like just fundraising is another like a very painful thing. It takes you time away from talking to customers and building products. But yeah, maybe fundraising is the one.
Yeah, I guess also if you can compare a big company, because we both worked at big companies, really big. Now it's just the two of us. So if you want something done, you just have to do it. There's no like, oh, I'll just wait for HR to do that, or I'll just wait for the salesperson to do that.
Yeah,
you just got to do it.
How many hours do you spend with your customers weekly?
That's a good question. So recently we have been trying to talk to a bunch of startups. Luckily, we found one in our batch itself called Miri Health, and they're trying to do AI-based therapy, which is
personalized health and
wellness. And it's a very cool product. You should check it out. And we are kind of in touch with them every other day or so, just trying to see what would work. One approach we have tried is every customer we get, either it's like a startup or a game animation studio, we try to get them on our Slack group, set up meetings weekly with them, even if they don't have anything to say, but we just keep checking in on them to see what's going on.
We have like a new demo of something working, and we can just show them, and it might inspire them.
And then learn about what their schedule is like, and how they're using it. What would be a red flag is if they don't have, they've not been using our product, and that's a red flag, and we kind of try to find out why. So yeah, we try to be as close as we can.
So I know that it may be early for asking this question, but whenever you find the product market fit, what is your expectation about creating the company culture? What is your vision on your venture culture should be in 5 years' time?
Definitely
Yeah.
early to think about it.
So yeah, I think so both of us are tinkerers. We like tinkering with technology and building something of value. So I think that we would want to keep going on that side. Like we are very engineering focused, and we learn by doing things rather than learning things, right? So you build out something that say the new model comes out, we try it out, and you see how it works and all. And I think that would be one of the cultural elements that we'll have. And the other one is obviously AI has a lot of ethical stuff going along with it that we want to be clear upfront.
Yeah, I think there's also needs a lot of agency and from people to like not just get stuff done, but on this ethical stuff. If you're like seeing how something can be used wrong, like try to think around the product so that you can lean away from those things or various things like, and there are a lot of that agency.
And are there any fun facts that nobody knows about you both yourself? Can you share us?
Well, it's not that nobody knows, but no one would guess. But I actually grew up in the Philippines. My favorite meal growing up was fish heads and rice type of thing. So
yeah, and yeah, I think we have that in common. I grew up in an island in India, and whenever I introduce myself to anybody who knows the place, like anybody from India, they'd be like, "Is that even part of India?" And it'll be like, "You're the first person I've met. You are from there. Like, do people live there?" Like, yeah.
It has been a pleasure having you both on the Startup Istanbul podcast. And before we wrap up, is there anything you would like to share or add on our audience?
I don't know, just download Puppetry and feel free to contact us on if something, if you have a cool idea with it.
How can they contact with you?
I think we have a Discord channel. So in the settings page of the app, there's a whole bunch of ways to contact us. Yeah, there's a way to email us. You can also join our Discord.
Yeah.
We're definitely open to any forms of communication.
Yeah. And our email is just hi@elbo.ai. Just feel free to send anything. We'll respond.
Thank you for joining us today. And
thank you, Barack. Thanks for the opportunity. This is a privilege that we are able to be here.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Bye-bye.